Remember how for the last 5 or 6 years, as censorship on social media kept increasing, the Democrats would always say, well, they're private companies, they can do whatever they want. Well, careful what you wish for, because I'm sure you heard Elon Musk just bought Twitter for an astonishing $44 billion. He's been increasingly critical of Twitter, wokeness, and censorship, and intends to restore Twitter to a free speech platform. And so the left hasn't freaked out this bad since Donald Trump won the 2016 presidential election.
If you own all of Twitter or Facebook or what have you, you don't have to explain yourself. You don't even have to be transparent. You could secretly ban one party's candidate or all of its candidates, all of its nominees. Or you could just secretly turn down the reach of their stuff and turn up the reach of something else. And the rest of us might not even find out about it till after the election. Elon Musk says this is all to help people because he is just a free speech, philosophically clear, open-minded helper.
That's MSNBC's Ari Melber projecting and admitting what the left has been doing to us for the last 6 years.
Look, who knows? I think that's an example of a broader question for Twitter, which is if you get invited to something where there are no rules, where there is total freedom for everybody, do you actually want to go to that party? Or are you going to decide to stay home?
Nobody's ever invited you to a party, Brian! I still can't believe Elon pulled it off. Technically, it's not finalized yet. It'll be in a few months, but nobody sees any real obstacles to this, and it looks like it's a foregone conclusion. And the only reason that the Twitter board actually agreed to sell is because it was such a generous offer. If they didn't, they would have been sued for breaching their fiduciary duty to the shareholders. The person taking it the hardest is probably the white Black Lives Matter activist Shaun King, also known as Talcum X, who tweeted out, quote, "At its root, Elon Musk wanting to purchase Twitter is not about left versus right. It's about white supremacy. The man was raised in apartheid by a white nationalist. He's upset Twitter won't allow white nationalists to target and harass people. That's his definition of free speech." Elon Musk is African American, believe it or not. He was born and raised in South Africa, hence Talcum X's reference to apartheid. MySpace was trending yesterday from so many liberals lying to themselves and others that they were going to quit Twitter and go back to MySpace, or they were scrambling to find some other platform. Mastodon was also trending, a small platform that's hardly used by anybody, and they don't know what to do. LGBTQ plus Twitter users contemplate exit amid Elon Musk takeover. Well, bon voyage! The NAACP, the National Association for the Advancement of Black People. That's not what it stands for. I can't say what it stands for, otherwise certain people will start crying about it. But they fired off a letter to Twitter begging them to not restore President Trump's account. This is where it gets complicated because President Trump started his own app, True Social, 2 months ago. Still in beta testing, off to a little bit of a rocky start there, but it looks like they're finally getting the bugs worked out, and it's almost ready to be rolled out into the Android App Store and a desktop version. And President Trump said that if his Twitter account is restored, which I don't see why it wouldn't be, that he's not going to use the platform because he built True Social. A lot of people think this is the end of True Social because everyone from Alex Jones to Carpe Diem and James O'Keefe from Project Veritas will most likely get their Twitter accounts restored later this year. But I'll tell you why I think there's room in the ecosystem and a need really for multiple platforms. Twitter is designed to dogpile onto somebody, and with the simple quote tweet, you can flood somebody's feed with countless tweets from your followers, which, I mean, I'll admit, can be fun, but at the same time, it can be annoying as hell, especially when some blue-haired gender bender quote tweets you and then floods your mentions with all of their crazy followers. Twitter is like a gigantic, loud, crowded, crazy club where True Social, Gab, and Getter are more like small local bars where you could actually sit down and have conversations with your friends without constantly being interrupted by a bunch of craziness. As smart as Elon is, I don't think he understands the wickedness that is going to come his way from the establishment that are going to do everything that they can to try to stop him from restoring Twitter to a free speech platform with the help of Twitter employees sabotaging it from within. And not to mention people targeting his other companies and, well, pretty much his entire life. There are going to be so many advertiser boycotts that he's going to have to move to a subscription model, which will be fine. But if he allows too much free speech, like Gab does, which allows anything that the First Amendment allows, which is the right way to run a social media platform, then the Apple and Google app stores are going to ban the Twitter app. They're going to try to Brett Kavanaugh or Me Too him. He's going to have ex-girlfriends coming out of the woodwork making all sorts of accusations. There's going to be LGBTQAIP2K plus Twitter employees who are going to scream and go to the Department of Labor and claim that they're being discriminated against. He's creating a hostile work environment. It's gonna be a battle. Elon taking over Twitter is kind of bittersweet for me because a few years ago, he actually blocked me when I criticized him for pulling out as an advisor to President Trump when President Trump withdrew from the Paris Climate Accord agreements. I wasn't even trolling him or filling his feed with a bunch of tweets. It was one little tweet. So if you're on Twitter and you follow him, please respond to his tweets by asking him to unblock me. And then most people either don't know or are forgetting that one of the companies that Elon owns is called Neuralink, and he's literally building a neural interface, or a BMI, a brain machine interface, and plans on wiring the internet into people's brains just like in the Matrix. So Mark Zuckerberg is working on the metaverse and wants people to put on virtual reality or AI helmets. Elon Musk is literally working on a system to physically plug into the Matrix. And no, I'm not joking. For those who think that he's only building it to help the disabled people who are quadriplegic and so that they can use external mechanical limbs and wheelchairs and operate a mouse on a computer, that's only phase one of his plan. He's openly a transhumanist and admits that the ultimate goal of Neuralink is to merge man and machine as part of the transhumanist supposed revolution. That's a whole other can of worms, and if you missed my previous in-depth report on transhumanism or the transhumanist revolution, just go and look that up, because at some point in the future, we're gonna have to address it. To support my work, click the join button below the YouTube video to sponsor my channel for $5 a month, or sponsor me through Patreon for $5 a month, or however much you want. Your support is greatly appreciated, no matter how big or small, so thanks again, stay tuned, and I will see you soon.